Admiral Taman stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride, watching the enemy ships appear one by one. Each vessel was bigger than Earth's largest city. Their dark hulls gleamed with strange lights that hurt to look at directly. The alien fleet stretched across space like a wall of metal and death. "Sir, we count 437 ships," reported Lieutenant Dayun from her station. Her voice was steady, but Taman could see her hands shake as she worked. "More are still coming through their jump points." Taman nodded. He had expected this day for years. The Galactic Council had conquered every world they had ever visited. Earth would be no different, they thought, but they were wrong about humanity. The communication screen flickered to life. A tall, thin creature appeared on the display. Its skin was gray like old metal, and its eyes were black as space. This was Ambassador Veltar of the Council. Taman had seen his picture in the intelligence files many times. "Humans of Earth," Veltar began. His voice was cold and mechanical. "I am Ambassador Veltar, speaking for the Galactic Council. You will listen to our terms." Taman crossed his arms and waited. Around the bridge, his crew watched the screen with hard expressions. They had all trained for this moment. "Your species has become a threat to galactic peace," Veltar continued. "You expand too quickly. You build too many weapons. You ask too many questions. This cannot continue." The alien paused and looked directly at the camera. "The Council has decided. Earth will surrender within 72 hours. You will dissolve all military forces. You will accept Council governance. You will abandon your colonies and return to your home world. These terms are not negotiable." Taman almost smiled. The alien sounded so sure of himself, so confident that humanity would simply give up and bow down like all the others. "If you refuse," Veltar added, "we will take your world by force. We have conquered 847 worlds. We have never been defeated. You have seen what happens to those who resist us. Choose wisely." The screen went black. Taman turned to his communications officer. "Patch me through to Earth Command, Priority Alpha." Minutes later, President So Young appeared on a secure channel from the presidential palace in Seoul. Behind her stood General Hyun-woo, the head of Earth's military forces, and Director Woo Jin from the intelligence service. "I assume you heard that," Taman said. "Every word," President So Young replied. She was a small woman, but her voice carried strength that made people listen. "What's your assessment, Admiral?" "They're strong," Taman admitted. "Their ships are more advanced than ours by several generations. Their weapons could crack a planet in half. By all normal measures, we should surrender." General Hyun-woo stepped forward. "But these aren't normal times, are they?" "No, sir," Taman agreed. "They're not." President So Young studied the tactical displays showing the alien fleet positions. "Have they made any attempt to scan beyond our outer defenses?" "Negative," reported Captain Min-ho from the intelligence station. "They're treating us like every other world they've conquered. Quick scan, show of force, demand surrender." "Arrogant," Director Woo Jin observed. "Just like the reports said they would be." President So Young made her decision. "Admiral, how long do we have?" 72 hours from now," Taman replied. "Good. That gives us time to prepare the broadcast. General Hyun-woo, activate Phoenix Protocol. All units, all stations." "Yes, Madam President," the general said with a slight smile. On Earth below, the alien message was being broadcast to every screen, every device, every communication network on the planet. People gathered in their homes, in the streets, in public spaces to watch the ultimatum from the stars. The reaction was not what anyone expected. It started small. A laugh from someone in a crowd in Seoul, a chuckle from a soldier at a military base in Alaska, a smirk from a scientist in a research facility in Switzerland. Then it spread. Social media exploded with memes and jokes about the alien demands. Military personnel posted pictures of themselves laughing at their posts. Even children began making fun of the scary aliens who thought humans would just give up. Dr. Ji-hai watched the global reaction from her secret laboratory deep beneath the Swiss mountains. She had spent 20 years preparing for this day. 20 years of working with technology that officially didn't exist. 20 years of getting ready for the moment when humanity would have to stand up to the galaxy's biggest bullies. They have no idea what they're dealing with, she said to her assistant, Dr. Yunji. Should we tell them? Dr. Yunji asked with a grin. Not yet, Dr. Ji-hai replied. Let them think they're in control for a little longer. Back on the Soul's Pride, Admiral Taemin received reports from across human space. The alien fleet was positioning itself around Earth, confident in their superior numbers and technology. They had done this same dance hundreds of times before, but this time was different. Admiral, Lieutenant Dayun called out, I'm getting confirmation signals from all Phoenix stations. How many? Taemin asked. All of them, sir, every single one. Taemin felt a warmth in his chest. For 30 years, humanity had been preparing, not just Earth, but every human colony, every space station, every mining operation throughout the solar system. All of it had been leading to this moment. The alien fleet finished its deployment. 457 ships now surrounded Earth like predators around wounded prey. Their weapons were charged, their shields were up, and their crews were confident. President So Young appeared on every screen across Earth and her colonies. Behind her stood the flags of every nation, every culture, every group that called Earth home. People of Earth, she began. You have seen the message from the Galactic Council. They want us to surrender. They want us to give up our freedom, our dreams, our future among the stars. She paused and smiled. My answer is simple. No. The crowd in Seoul erupted in cheers. Similar reactions happened in every city, on every world, in every human habitat, throughout the solar system. For 30 years we have known this day would come, President So Young continued. We have prepared. We have planned. We have built defenses they cannot imagine. But most importantly, we have remained human. She looked directly into the camera. The Galactic Council thinks we will surrender because we are afraid. They are wrong. We are not afraid. We are excited. Admiral Taemin opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. Ambassador Veltar appeared on the screen, looking annoyed that humans dared to respond so quickly. Well? Veltar demanded. What is your answer? Taemin smiled. Behind him, his entire crew was grinning. Ambassador Veltar, thank you for your generous offer to make us slaves. After careful consideration, our answer is no. The alien's face showed confusion. This was not how conquered species usually responded. Furthermore, Taemin continued, we'd like to invite you and your fleet to try to make us change our minds. We're looking forward to showing you why that was exactly the right choice. Veltar's image disappeared as he cut the connection. Across the alien fleet, warning lights began to flash as the Council forces prepared for war. But on every human ship, in every human base, on every human world, people were laughing. The countdown began. 72 hours until the Galactic Council would attack Earth. Across the galaxy, other species watched their screens and waited for humanity to become the 848th world to fall. They had no idea what was really happening. Deep beneath the mountains of Switzerland, Dr. Ji-hai walked through corridors that officially did not exist. The Phoenix Protocol facility had been built in secret over 20 years ago. Now it was time to wake it up. All stations report ready, said Dr. Yunji, checking her tablet. Luna Base, Mars Command, asteroid belt stations, even the outer ring. Platforms, everything is green. Dr. Ji-hai nodded. Begin activation sequence. Let's show our guests what we've been working on. Around the solar system, hidden bases came online. What looked like simple mining stations suddenly revealed massive weapon arrays. Research facilities on distant moons opened their real purpose. Even civilian space habitats began to transform. On Luna, Commander Hyewan stood in a control room that had been disguised as a geological survey station. Through the fake walls, she could see the real facility. Weapons that could crack asteroids, shields that could stop plasma bombardment, ships that had never appeared on any official registry. Time to drop the act, she said to her team. Signal Earth Command. Luna Defense Grid is operational. Captain Minho was already in space, leading what the Council thought was a simple patrol squadron. His ships looked old and weak compared to the alien vessels, but looks could be very deceiving. "Phoenix Team Alpha, this is Lead Bird," he said into his communicator. "The curtain is about to fall. Are we ready for the show?" "Ready, sir," came the replies from his pilots. Each of them flew ships that appeared to be standard human fighters. None of the aliens scanning them could detect the modifications hidden inside. The truth was simple. Humanity had been lying to the galaxy for 30 years. It started with a crash. 30 years ago, a Galactic Council ship had engine trouble near Earth's moon. The crew died, but their technology survived. Director Wu Jin, then just a young intelligence officer, was part of the team that found the wreckage. Most species would have studied the alien technology and tried to copy it exactly. Humans did something different. They improved it. Dr. Sang-min had led the reverse engineering team. He was a genius who thought in ways that made other scientists dizzy. While alien species followed rigid rules about how technology should work, humans asked a simple question: why not make it better? The Council builds their weapons to last forever, Dr. Sang-min had explained to his team years ago. They make them reliable and predictable. But we don't need forever. We just need to win one war. So humanity had taken Council weapons and made them hit harder. They had taken Council shields and made them stronger. They had taken Council engines and made them faster. But the real advantage was not the technology. It was how humans used it. Lieutenant Young-soo commanded a stealth squadron that was invisible to Council sensors. His ships used improved versions of their own cloaking technology. But where Council ships followed predictable patrol patterns, Young-soo's fighters moved like hunters. "Remember," he told his pilots over secure communications, "they expect us to fight like everyone else they've conquered. Straight lines, formation flying, following the rules. We're going to show them what chaos looks like." The aliens had no idea that humans had been watching them for decades. Every time the Council attacked another world, human spy ships had been there, hidden in the shadows, recording everything. Captain Bo-Ram commanded intelligence operations from a station in the asteroid belt. Her job was to know everything about Council tactics before they even knew it themselves. "They always do the same thing," she explained to her staff. "Overwhelming show of force, demand surrender. If the planet refuses, they move in close to demonstrate their weapons. They think fear will make their enemies give up. And if that doesn't work," asked her aide, "then they get sloppy." Bo-Ram smiled. "They've won so many times that they think they can't lose. That's going to be their biggest mistake." The Council fleet around Earth was already making that mistake. They had positioned themselves exactly where human analysts had predicted. Their formation was textbook perfect and perfectly predictable. Admiral Tae-min watched from the Soul's Pride as the aliens settled into their attack positions. His ship was the only major human vessel visible to their scanners. As far as they knew, Earth had fewer than 100 combat ships total. They were wrong by a factor of 20. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Da-eun, "we're getting final confirmations from all hidden assets. The weapon platforms are online. The mobile fleets are in position. Even the civilian stations have armed themselves." "Good," Tae-min replied. "How long until they realize we're not who they think we are?" "About 60 hours too late," Da-eun said with a grin. "The deception went deeper than just military preparations. For 5 years, ever since official first contact, humanity had been playing a role. They pretended to be a young, weak species with limited technology and few ships. Ambassador Veltar had visited Earth several times during those years. He had toured human facilities and met with world leaders. Everything he saw supported the story humanity wanted him to believe. He never knew that the military bases he visited were the weak ones. The real defenses were hidden. He never saw the factories that built human warships. He never learned about the training programs that prepared soldiers for this exact war. President So-young had been acting for 5 years, playing the role of a leader who was afraid of the big, powerful aliens, asking for protection, requesting Council guidance, making humanity look harmless. The hardest part was not laughing during those meetings, she told General Hyunwoo as they watched the countdown clock. Veltar was so proud of how smart he was, so sure he understood us. He understood what we wanted him to understand, the general replied. Nothing more. Dr. Jihai finished the final activation sequence. Across the solar system, humanity's real military awakened. Weapon systems that had been hidden for decades powered up. Ships that had been disguised as cargo haulers revealed their true nature. On Mars, what looked like mining equipment transformed into planetary defense guns. In the asteroid belt, processing stations opened to reveal fighter squadrons. Even on Mars, the outer planets' research bases became fortress stations. Phoenix Protocol is fully active, Dr. Jihai reported to Earth Command. All assets are ready for combat operations. The Galactic Council had expected to find a weak, frightened species, with primitive weapons and no real military experience. Instead, they had walked into the most elaborate trap in galactic history. But they still didn't know it. Ambassador Veltar was confident as he prepared his final ultimatum. In 6 hours, when the deadline passed, his fleet would demonstrate their power by destroying a few human ships. Then Earth would surrender just like all the others. He had no idea that humanity was counting down to something very different. While he prepared to attack what he thought was a helpless world, humanity was getting ready to spring the greatest surprise in the history of warfare. The trap was set. The hunters had become the hunted. Soon, the Galactic Council would learn what happened when they picked a fight with the wrong species. But first they had to make the mistake of attacking. The 72 hours were up. Ambassador Veltar appeared on screens across the Council fleet, his gray face showing cold satisfaction. This was always his favorite moment, when another species realized they had no choice but to surrender. Humans of Earth, he announced, your time has expired. You have chosen to resist. Now you will see why that was a mistake. The Council fleet began to move. 457 warships advanced toward Earth in perfect formation, their weapons charged with power that could melt continents. Their shields glowed with energy that could stop any known weapon. On the bridge of the Soul's Pride, Admiral Taman watched the alien advance with calm eyes. All stations, this is Admiral Command. Operation Mousetrap is now active. Repeat, the mouse is in the trap. Across human space, commanders smiled as they received the signal. Captain Minho adjusted his fighter's controls and spoke to his squadron. Phoenix team, you know what to do. Let's give our guests a warm welcome. The first phase of the human plan looked exactly like defeat. The small Earth defense fleet moved forward to meet the aliens and immediately began taking heavy fire. The Oman. Ships exploded under the massive alien guns. Others retreated, seemingly overwhelmed by the Council's superior firepower. Veltar nodded with approval as he watched the human ships fall back toward Earth. As expected, he told his bridge crew, another species learns the cost of defying the Council. But Strategic Commander Boram was watching from her hidden command center in the asteroid belt. This retreat was not defeat. It was the first part of humanity's greatest trick. Phase 1 complete, she reported to Earth Command. Enemy fleet is following our ships exactly as predicted. They're entering the kill zone now. The Council ships pursued the retreating humans, moving into the space between Earth and the Moon. It was a perfect position for orbital bombardment. Veltar could destroy human cities from here while staying safe from any ground-based weapons. What he didn't know was that he had just flown into the center of humanity's trap. Lieutenant Commander Da-Un was piloting one of the retreating human fighters. Her ship looked damaged, trailing smoke and sparks. The aliens ignored her as they flew past, focusing on the bigger targets ahead. Behind them, Da-Un smiled and activated her true weapon systems. The damage was fake. The retreat was fake. Even her ship's identity was fake. Underneath the disguise was one of humanity's most advanced fighters. All Phoenix fighters, this is Da-Un, she whispered into her communicator. Light them up. Around the Council fleet, space suddenly filled with human fighters. They seemed to appear from nowhere, using cloaking technology the aliens thought only they possessed. But these weren't copies of Council stealth systems. They were improvements. Captain Young-Soo led the first stealth squadron into the alien formation. His ships moved in patterns that made no sense to Council tactical computers. Where alien pilots flew in straight lines and predictable formations, humans twisted and spun through space like dancers. "Remember your training," Young-Soo told his pilots. "They think in 3 dimensions. We think in 4. Use time as a weapon." Human fighters didn't just attack, they confused. Council ships tried to target them but couldn't predict where they would be. Human pilots used gravity wells, magnetic fields, and even solar wind to change direction in ways that alien computers couldn't calculate. Pilot Jae-won dove his fighter through a gap between 2 Council cruisers, spinning in 3 different directions at once. The alien guns couldn't track him because he wasn't following any flight pattern in their databases. "This is impossible," said one of the Council gunners. "How are they moving like that?" The answer was simple. Humans could survive forces that would kill other species. Where aliens needed smooth, controlled flight to stay conscious, humans could handle brutal acceleration and direction changes that their enemies couldn't match. But the fighters were just the beginning. The second surprise came from the moon itself. What looked like research stations and mining facilities suddenly revealed their true purpose. Massive guns rose from hidden bunkers. Weapons that had been disguised as radio telescopes turned toward the Council fleet. Commander Hai-Wan commanded the Luna defense grid from her secret base. She had spent 10 years preparing for this moment, building weapons that could hurt ships, designed to crack planets. "Luna batteries, this is Control," she announced. "Target the command ships, maximum power, fire at will." Beams of energy lanced out from the moon, hitting the Council fleet with weapons they had never seen before. These weren't copies of alien technology. They were human innovations that used Council principles in ways their creators had never imagined. The Council's shields, designed to stop their own weapons, struggled against human modifications that hit at different frequencies and power levels. Ships that had seemed invincible began taking damage, but the real shock was yet to come. From the asteroid belt, what the aliens had thought were mining stations began to move. These weren't stations at all. They were the largest warships ever, built disguised as industrial facilities. Captain Boram commanded the flagship of humanity's true battle fleet. The ship was 3 times larger than the biggest Council vessel, but it had been hidden among the asteroids for 15 years. "All units, this is Boram," she broadcast to the human fleet. "Time to drop the masks. Let's show them what we really built out here." Across the solar system, humanity's secret navy revealed itself. Ships that had been disguised as cargo haulers suddenly showed their true weapons. Mining platforms became battle stations. Even passenger vessels opened hidden gun ports. The Council fleet found themselves surrounded by an enemy they had never expected to exist. Where they had thought they faced a few dozen primitive ships, they now faced hundreds of advanced warships. General Hyunwoo watched the battle from Earth Command with grim satisfaction. Phase 2 complete. Enemy fleet is trapped and confused. Beginning Phase 3. The third phase was the deadliest. Human ships didn't just attack randomly, they used tactics that no other species had ever developed. Where Council fleets followed, ancient battle plans refined over centuries, humans improvised and adapted in real time. Dr. Sang-min had trained the human commanders in something he called chaos warfare. Instead of following rigid formations, human ships moved like a swarm of insects, each pilot making decisions based on instinct and creativity. Lieutenant Young-Soo demonstrated this as he led his squadron through the Council formation. His fighters split up, rejoined, scattered, and reformed in patterns that made alien commanders dizzy trying to follow them. "They're not following any known tactical system," reported one Council captain to Veltar. "Our computers can't predict their movements." "Then, destroy them manually," Veltar ordered, but his voice was no longer confident. The problem was that humans weren't just unpredictable, they were learning. Every time a Council ship fired, human computers analyzed the weapon signature. Every time an alien captain gave an order, human intelligence systems recorded it and found ways to counter it. Captain Minho led this information war from his command fighter. His ship was connected to every human vessel in the battle, sharing data faster than the Council could react to it. Pattern recognition complete, he announced. Enemy formation Delta 7 identified, transmitting counter-tactics to all units. Within seconds, every human ship knew exactly how to defeat the Council's battle plan before the aliens had finished implementing it. The tide of battle turned completely. Council ships that had entered the system confident of easy victory now found themselves outgunned, outmaneuvered, and completely outthought by an enemy they had underestimated in every possible way. The Council fleet was in full retreat. Ships that had entered human space with confidence now fled in panic toward the edge of the solar system. Nearly half of their vessels had been destroyed or disabled. The rest were damaged and running for their lives. Ambassador Veltar stood on his bridge, staring at displays that showed impossible numbers. His fleet of 457 ships had been reduced to fewer than 200 in just 6 hours. The humans had done something that no species in galactic history had ever accomplished. "Sir," his aide reported with a shaking voice, "we're receiving surrender demands from the human fleet." "Surrender demands?" Veltar repeated. "They want us to surrender?" Admiral Taman appeared on the Council flagship's main screen. Behind him, the bridge of the Soul's Pride showed calm efficiency. No panic, no celebration, just professional military discipline. "Ambassador Veltar," Taman said politely, "this is Admiral Taman of the Earth Defense Force. We are prepared to accept your surrender and provide safe passage for your remaining ships." Veltar's gray face showed confusion and rage. "This is impossible. No species has ever defeated a Council fleet. Your technology is primitive. Your tactics are chaotic." "How did you do this?" Taman smiled. "We learned from you. Every battle you fought, every world you conquered, we were watching. We studied your methods, improved your technology, and prepared for this day. The only difference is that we fight to protect, not to conquer." The truth was spreading across the galaxy faster than light itself. News networks on 1,000 worlds reported the impossible. Humanity had defeated the Galactic Council. Species that had been enslaved for centuries suddenly had hope. On Earth, President So Young addressed not just her own people, but the entire galaxy. Her words were broadcast on every frequency, translated into every known language. "People of the galaxy," she began, "today marks the end of the Council's reign of fear. But we did not fight this battle to become new conquerors. We fought for freedom, not just our own, but for everyone." Dr. Jahai was already working on the next phase of humanity's plan. The Phoenix Protocol had been about more than just military defense. It was about sharing technology and knowledge with oppressed species throughout the galaxy. "Begin transmission of the liberation packages," she told Dr. Yunji. "Every species that wants freedom should have the tools to achieve it." Across space, human ships began broadcasting technical specifications for improved weapons, better shields, and more efficient engines. Not just to allies, but to anyone who wanted to break free from Council control. The response was immediate. On the industrial world of Kepler 442b, workers used human designs to build weapons and rose against their Council overseers. In the Vega system, 3 different species joined together using human communication technology to coordinate their rebellion. Captain Minho led a new kind of mission. Instead of conquest, he commanded diplomatic vessels carrying human advisors to help newly free worlds establish their own governments. "Our job is not to rule," he explained to his crew as they approached the liberated world of Proxima Centauri b. "Our job is to help them rule themselves." The revolution spread faster than the Council could contain it. General Hyunwoo coordinated military support for rebellion movements, but the support came in the form of training and equipment, not occupation. "Every species has the right to determine their own future," he told his commanders. "We provide the tools. They provide the courage." But the Council was not finished. Supreme Commander Zektar gathered the remaining Council forces for one final assault. He brought ships from across the galaxy, nearly 2,000 vessels representing the Council's last hope of maintaining control. "If we cannot defeat the humans," he announced to his fleet, We will make an example of them that the galaxy will never forget. We will turn their world into ashes. The massive Council Armada approached Earth 3 months after the first battle. This time they came prepared for human tactics. They had studied the recordings, analyzed the technology, and developed countermeasures. But when they arrived, they found something they had not expected. The human fleet had grown. Ships from dozens of species now fought alongside Earth's vessels. Former Council slaves had joined humanity's cause, bringing their own improvements to the shared technology. Captain Boram commanded a mixed fleet of human and alien vessels. Her flagship was crewed by beings from 7 different worlds, all working together against their former oppressors. "This is what we were really fighting for," she told her diverse crew. "Not human victory, but galactic freedom." The final battle was different from the first. The Council came expecting to fight only humans, but they faced a coalition of free species working together. Every race brought their own advantages. Some were better engineers, others were skilled pilots. Still others had tactical abilities that complemented human innovation. Lieutenant Commander Dayun flew in formation with pilots from 4 different species. They had trained together, learned from each other, and developed new tactics that none of them could have created alone. "Combined Squadron Alpha, this is Daun," she called to her mixed unit. "Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for everyone." The battle raged for 12 hours. Council ships found themselves facing not just human unpredictability, but the combined creativity of dozens of species. The rigid Council tactics that had worked for 1,000 years finally met their match. Supreme Commander Zektar watched his fleet crumble as free species demonstrated what they could accomplish when they worked together, instead of being forced to serve. His final transmission was a message of surrender. "To all Council forces," he announced, "cease hostilities. We have been defeated not by superior technology, but by superior ideals." The aftermath transformed the galaxy. The Galactic Council didn't disappear. It became something new. Instead of a ruling body that controlled other species, it became a forum where all species could participate as equals. President So Young was elected as the first president of the Free Galactic Alliance. Her acceptance speech was simple and direct. "We didn't fight to replace one empire with another," she said. "We fought so that every species could have a voice in their own future. That's what freedom means." Dr. Sang-min established technology, sharing programs that helped former Council worlds develop their own innovations. Instead of one species controlling all advancement, every world could contribute to galactic progress. Admiral Taemin led the new Alliance Defense Force, but its mission was protection, not conquest. When disputes arose between worlds, the Alliance sent mediators, not warships. The real victory was not military, it was philosophical. For the first time in galactic history, a dominant power had chosen to share rather than hoard its advantages. Captain Young-Soo commanded the first mixed-species exploration fleet that ventured beyond the galaxy's edge. His crew included humans, former Council species, and beings who had never seen their homeworlds freed until humanity showed them it was possible. "We're not going out there to conquer new worlds," he told his diverse crew as they prepared to leave the galaxy. "We're going to meet new friends. The stars belong to everyone now. The age of empires was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And it all started because when the galaxy's greatest empire ordered humanity to surrender, humans had looked at impossible odds and simply laughed.